Your Serene Highness, Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Field Marshal, my Lords Bishops, Reverend Fathers, Knights and Dames, ladies and gentlemen. There's some introduction. You are all most welcome. As Delegate for Great Britain and Ireland, it is my distinct pleasure to start by thanking our host for this evening, the Ambassador and my good friend Janos Chak, for hosting us this evening. Your Excellency, we very much appreciate your support for the Order at this time. It is also for me a great pleasure to be in an embassy of a country which I've enjoyed a 25-year association with, having, as you know, lived, worked and studied there. I count myself fortunate in also having been able to witness, sometimes at first hand, some key moments in modern Hungarian history. And much like elsewhere in the region, I have no doubt that faith played a significant part in empowering the Hungarian people to stand up against totalitarian oppression and dictatorship, which in turn led to democracy and freedom. I might also add, a number of us last night were at the investiture of Anne Widdecombe, a former Conservative Member of Parliament, as a papal dame. And among the guests was the former Prime Minister, Sir John Major. And it suddenly brought back to me, meeting him, a very amusing tale that occurred during my time as a student in Hungary, which was when we suddenly had an announcement from our lecturer that all British nationals had to report immediately to the lecture hall where the rector was going to address us. Well, for many of us, we wondered, had we turned up late for an event? Did we do badly in our examinations? Or we had no idea what the reason was. And then suddenly, with a very somber voice, the rector turned to us and said that it was his sad duty to inform us that that afternoon a major had taken power in the United Kingdom. And there we all were, thinking, I know Eastern Europe is in turmoil, but a military coup in Great Britain, what is going on with the world? But Ambassador, if I may say so, the Constantinian Order has enjoyed a very long association with your country. Over centuries we have had Hungarian knights and dames. More recently, the order was formally recognized by the Hungarian government by decree of the President of the Republic. In 2010, our Grand Master, Prince Carlo, Duke of Castro, and our Grand Prior, Cardinal Martino, were invited officially to your country, and I know how much they appreciated that visit. And also today, my counterpart as delegate for Hungary is the Deputy Prime Minister of Hungary, Dr. Zsolt Semjan. The Order is much looking forward to working with the Hungarian government and Your Excellency in developing a series of initiatives, some of which you touched on earlier, around the role of faith in public policy, the Christian values of Europe, and interreligious understanding. Your Excellency, 2013 is a very important year for our Order and for Christians across the world. Next month, we will mark the 1700th anniversary of Emperor Constantine's famous Edict of Milan, which was decreed in February 312 and granted Christians, and indeed others' faiths, the freedom to practice their faith without fear of prosecution and persecution. This decree marked in many ways the beginning of the Christian foundations of European civilization. This anniversary may also prove to be an appropriate time when those of us of faith should reflect on those centuries-old foundations of our society. This should be felt all the more at a time when, for many, there is a strong sense that our Christian and wider faith values are being tested and challenged by an increasingly secular society which sadly at times appears intolerant in its approach to matters of faith and the views of faith communities in this country and abroad. On a happier note, the Order, which is headquartered in Rome, will also celebrate in 2013 the Golden Jubilee of the formal recognition by the Italian state of our Order by decree of the President of the Italian Republic. In April this year, here in the United Kingdom, we will also celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Italian Church in Britain. We will also mark our Grand Master's 50th birthday, and much like our delegation prior, our Grand Prior, Cardinal Martino, also turns 80. We will also be celebrating the Order's granting of consultative status at the United Nations in New York, Geneva, and Vienna. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate a remarkable man, Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, who I think without exception is considered one of our truly national treasures. He has been known throughout his priesthood for his earthly Irish charm, his command of singing Italian ditties, which have made him many friends and admirers across the world. As the ambassador has said, he has been a trusted advisor to monarchs and prime ministers and also a good number of the diplomatic community over the years. For our Order, for over 10 years, he has offered our members spiritual guidance in the charitable, humanitarian and hospitaller work that we undertake, and for that we are most grateful. He is a voice of reason and of common sense, and for what many in Rome still feel today to be a welcomed breath of fresh air. For me, he is a leader who, to use the theme of Pope Benedict's recent papal visit to Her Majesty and of the motto of the great Victorian theologian, the Blessed John Henry Newman, is someone whose heart speaks unto heart. Your Excellency, Your Eminence, distinguished guests, I am delighted to announce that our Grand Master and our Grand Prior extend their special wishes to you all this evening. And I would therefore like to present on the Grand Master's behalf to the Ambassador a small token of the appreciation of His Royal Highness and His Eminence.